You know the saying in Silicon Valley, right? Move fast and break things? Well, what if I told you the biggest AI success story right now is from a company doing the exact opposite? A company that's moving slow, being careful. It sounds crazy, but that's the paradox of Anthropic. They're achieving this just unbelievable success, not by trying to win, but by trying desperately not to lose control.
Okay, so this really gets to the heart of the whole thing. I mean, you'd think the CEO of a company that's rocketing towards a trillion-dollar valuation would be popping champagne, right? But no. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei is described as being tortured by it all. Tortured. And why? Well, it's because his biggest fear isn't losing the AI race. It's what happens to all of us after anyone, actually wins it.
So that's the big question we're going to unpack here. How on earth does a company that's so obsessed with safety, a company that almost seems reluctant to be successful, become one of the fastest growing tech companies ever? The answer, and this is where it gets really interesting, is that Anthropic was never, ever meant to be a normal company. Nope. It was designed to be something totally different.
All right, so let's dive into that different path. And it all starts with them just throwing out the entire Silicon Valley playbook. Forget chasing consumer hype, forget engagement metrics. They took a completely different road. And it was all built on this really powerful, almost scary belief they had about the tech they were building. And this right here, this is the core idea, the metaphor that explains everything. See, Dario Amodei didn't think he was building a unicorn startup. He thought he was building a containment vessel. And the logic is, well, it's pretty simple and kind of terrifying. If you truly believe AI has the power of, say, plutonium, you don't build a fun little toy with it. No way. You build the lead line box first. And that safety-first mindset, that's the key to their whole strategy. So that mindset leads them to this massive decision. You get these guys at Davos, the top scientific minds in AI, and they get asked about business models. The answer was just so clear, so simple. We don't need to do ads. And look, this isn't just some casual preference. It's a foundational principle. It's the thing that sets them apart from almost every other tech giant out there.
And this chart really shows you just how huge that no ads decision is. Think about it. The ad model, it's all about engagement. It needs you to click, to watch, to stay on the page. And that often means truth takes a backseat to whatever is most clickable. But Anthropic's model? It's the complete opposite. You're not the product, you're the client. So they're not selling your attention, they're selling stability and trust. And this is absolutely critical for real business uses, right? Like if you're asking an AI to analyze a profit and loss statement or draft a legal doc, you need the right answer, not the most engaging one. This is what opens the door for using this tech in places like medicine or finance, where trust is everything.
Okay, so a safety-first, no ads philosophy sounds great on paper. But how does that actually turn into products that people love and, actually want to use? It's one thing to have principles, but it's an entirely other thing to build awesome tools from them. And that's where we get into their product strategy.
So while all their competitors were obsessing over benchmarks, benchmaxing to get like a 0.5% better score on some academic test, Anthropic was focused on something completely different, the actual user's workflow. They were asking, how can we make this thing genuinely useful for someone trying to solve a real problem, like right now?
And here's the perfect example of what that looks like in practice. Think about AI in a spreadsheet. Other companies, they put a chatbot in there to help you use the software. Anthropic, they put an agent in the spreadsheet to help you solve your actual problem. It seems like a small difference, but it is absolutely massive. Asking an AI to analyze this P&L and tell me where the problems are is 1,000,000 times more valuable than asking it, how do I make a pivot table? And we see this exact same philosophy when it comes to coding. People talk about using Claude Code like having a product founder sitting next to you. It's fantastic for that blank page problem. It helps you architect the whole thing and gets you like 70% of the way there. It's really built for creation. Now, OpenAI's Codex, that's more like a super sharp staff engineer. It's phenomenal at taking direct instructions and optimizing what you've already got. But Anthropic, they totally captured that, hey, let's build something cool over the weekend crowd. So what's holding all this together? It's something they call the Claude Constitution. And you gotta understand, this is way more than just a safety feature. It's basically the model's core product spec. So instead of just training the AI on what users seem to like or engage with, they literally give it a set of written principles to follow. And when you think about it, for a large language model, teaching it to follow well-thought-out, written rules, yeah, that's actually a pretty genius and direct way to do it. Okay, so the big question.
Does all this slow, deliberate, principled stuff actually work in the real, cutthroat world of tech? Well, the numbers are, frankly, just staggering. It turns out their contrarian bet is paying off. Big time. Get this, Anthropic is on track to hit $10 billion in annualized recurring revenue by the end of 2025. And we're not talking about hype or user numbers. That's real cash from real companies paying for a product they can actually trust. And if that's not enough, just think about this. Microsoft, OpenAI's main partner, paid Anthropic $500 million. Why? Just so their Azure customers could get access to Claude. I mean, when your biggest rival's #1 partner starts hedging their bets by pouring money into your company, you know you've built something seriously special. And here's maybe the most shocking part. Because of that enterprise-first no-ad strategy, they're on track to be the first major AI lab to actually be profitable. Let that sink in. They're not just burning through investor cash to get more users. They're building a real sustainable business. And the wins just keep on coming. Their API revenue is blowing past the competition, which tells you developers are voting with their wallets. The whole founding team, still there. No drama, no weird IP lawsuits clogging up the courts. And they've got this amazing group of strategic investors like Google, Amazon, and NVIDIA. I mean, this is what healthy, high-quality growth actually looks like. So when you step back and look at the whole picture, a really powerful lesson starts to emerge from the Anthropic story. It feels like we're seeing a brand new kind of competitive advantage being born right in front of our eyes. And here's the key takeaway. In an age where basically everyone has access to insane amounts of computing power, the raw horsepower, that's not the differentiator anymore. What is? Your principles, your taste, the trust that you build with your users. That's your new competitive moat. Anthropic proved that sometimes restraint is a superpower. And that really brings us to the perfect final thought here. In a race where everybody was obsessed with building the fastest engine possible, Anthropic was the one company that decided to build the brakes first. And it turns out that's a pretty fantastic business model. Because by doing that, they accidentally built the one vehicle that everyone actually feels safe enough to ride in. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As we look at the next decade of tech, are the biggest winners going to be the fastest, or are they going to be the most thoughtful?